Okay, so I wanted to comment very briefly on a video here of Matthew McConaughey talking with Joe Rogan. And Matthew McConaughey essentially gives some kind of uncertainty about what the burning bush is about. He's very confused concerning what this means. He knows what to do with other parts of the Bible, mentions a few of them, but what do you do with the burning bush? So listen to what he says here.
I mean, you know, for people that go, oh, it's a circus book, or people that are non-believers, and I'm like, well, it's still the best one going. There's a lot of great truths that come out of the Bible, and it is open for a lot of people. It has been interpreted and reinterpreted. It has been translated. It has been handed down. I, for myself, I don't know what to do in my daily life with the burning bush. I don't know what to do with that. I do know what to do with love your neighbor like yourself. I do know what to do with Matthew 6:22. If thy eye be single, thy whole body will be full of light. I do know what to do with some Proverbs that I can take into daily practice and go, oh, I felt my life. I felt improvement. I felt success in my relationships, in my relationship with the day, with my career, by following that, by treating others how I wanted to be treated, the golden rule. So I take the practical stuff myself and try to utilize it and pick out what can work for me.
Okay, so let me kind of comment on that for a minute. What do you do with the burning bush? Well, I want to say that Exodus 3 is a momentous event in human history. Of course, I come from the understanding, it is my belief that the Bible is God's Word, that what you are reading is history. What you are reading about Jesus Christ is true. You know, the God of the Bible is the God of this universe. That's what I believe. And what we see in Exodus 3 is a momentous event in human history. Let me give a short illustration to kind of start our talk. In 1961, there was a Soviet astronaut. I can't pronounce the guy's name. But he completed a single orbit of the planet in just roughly 89 minutes. And on his return, he said, and I quote, "There cannot be a God, for I have been up to heaven, and I have not seen him." That is a very interesting thing, because it's important that we understand that God is not accessible to human investigation any more than an author is accessible to the characters of his book. God has to reveal himself. God has to take the initiative. By his own terms, God has to come down and reveal himself to people. He has to make himself accessible. He doesn't need to. Just as I said, he can create a world and wind it up like a big clock and let it go and say, see you later. He never has to reveal himself. But this is the wonderful, amazing truth that we glean from Exodus 3, that God has revealed himself to his people. God meets people. That's the point of Exodus 3. God meets people. You see, the burning bush gives human beings assurance that God is real, that God has come down to humanity. Isn't that what he says here? If you look, I've got Exodus 3 over here. I think down here in verse 8, what does he say? So I have come down to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptians. God made the momentous decision to step out of obscurity. Right? He's not some remote God that is uncaring, that created things, wound it up like a big clock and let it go. That's not the God of Exodus 3. That's not the God of the Bible. No, he is willing to come down, to deal with us, to experience life with us, to personally interact with us. Exodus 3 shows us that a personal relationship with God is possible. God personally interacts with Moses. He calls him by name in verse 4. When the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called to him from within the bush, "Moses, Moses." God made himself accessible for Moses. Just think about it. It had been 400 years that we know of, 400 years, where God did not appear to a single Israelite. And then, bam, Exodus 3, he comes down to meet with Moses, to speak with him, to have interaction with him. You see, God must be the one that takes the initiative to open himself up to people. And that is the wonderful thing that you can glean from Exodus 3. God came down to personally interact with you. The God of the Bible, the great God. I mean, think about the greatness of God, the holiness of God. At one point in the story, what does it say? That Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. The greatness, the majesty, the holiness. He was afraid of this awesome God. So look at this, verse 7. The Lord said, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard them crying out because of their slave drivers, and I'm concerned about their suffering. God is concerned. He's concerned. He's concerned about people. The God of this universe is not some distant God that wants no part in our lives. No, the God of this universe cares for people. He's the God of people. What does he say? I'm the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. It's amazing that God is personally interested in people. And my friends, I will tell you this, he is personally interested in you. Now, I'm amazed at this, at what happens here. God says to Moses, he says, I am who I am. So Moses is concerned, what am I supposed to tell these people that I'm coming? Who do I say has sent me? And he says in verse 14, God said to Moses, I am who I am. That's difficult. That's a difficult thing to try and wrap your mind around. What does he even mean here? Ihye asher ihye in the Hebrew. I am who I am, possibly I will be who I will be. A lot of books, a lot of commentary has been put into understanding exactly what this means. But what I will tell you is this. Notice verse 12. And God said, I will be with you. What reassuring words. It had been 400 years since the God of the Bible appeared to any Israelite. What is Moses going to do when he sees these people? Hey, by the way, guy, the God of our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, has told me to come and talk with you. What? Are they really going to believe him? Well, the assurance that they will believe him is verse 12. And God said, I will be with you. He is the God that is with you. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that an amazing truth? Matthew McConaughey, anybody that wants to understand Exodus 3, anybody that wants to understand the God of the Bible, what do we know from Exodus 3? This is the God that meets people. This is the God that personally interacts with people. This is the God that desires to have a relationship with people. This is the God that if he puts you on a mission, he's with you. I just love that. I absolutely love that. My pastor shared with me an illustration just the other day, and I don't think I'll ever forget it. He said that one day he was standing out in the dirt, and there was this little ant that was crawling up over his shoe. And he started reflecting on it, and he started thinking to himself, this ant has absolutely no clue I'm here. No clue that I'm here. I mean, he's a 6'3" tall guy, a big guy, and the ant's crawling on his shoe. And the ant can't even see him. The greatness of God is there. But the ant has no clue what's going on. That is the same with us. You see, God is not accessible to human investigation any more than an author of a book is accessible to the characters in the book. We are like little ants crawling over God's shoe. And he has to reveal himself to us. And that's the point of Exodus 3. God came down to personally reveal himself to humanity. So the answer then, what do you do with the burning bush? You reflect on it, and you think about the fact that God has personally come down to deal with people, to experience life with people. And the question is, what will you do with the burning bush? There are going to be some people that say, it's a fairy tale, forget this, you know what, God has not really revealed himself in a sufficient enough way for me. Yeah, there's going to be people that say that. But there will be people that will be open. There will be people that will be open to a journey of faith. And they'll say with Moses, here I am. Here I am. Well, hopefully you have been helped by this. And we'll just cut the video short. I've got so much things I want to say. But another time, another day. All right, God bless you in the way. Bye.